the ground shake.
What's up everyone, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at 2 of the 4 tanks coming in update 2.8 as part of the new Russian tank destroyers line. They go from tier 7 to 10, they start from the SU-100, and then it's the SU-101M1, the SU-101, the 12254 and the Object 263. So in this video I'm going to be taking a look at the SU-100M1 and the SU-101, whereas in the next video I'll be taking a look at the SU-12254 and the Object 263. So the main theme of this tank destroyer line is they're fast and they have no armor except for the Object 263. They're fast, they're more maneuverable than the other tank destroyer line. Guns also have a faster rate of fire than the other Russian tank destroyer line, but they have less alpha damage, so there's not going to be any BL-10 alpha damage in this new line. But they'll have the rate of fire to compensate for that. So just to help out in reviewing these tanks and to get a better view of how good they are, I will be comparing the stats of the tanks in this new tank destroyer line to their counterparts in the other line. So without further ado, let's get into the first 2 tanks, starting off with the SU-100M1 at tier 7. The SU-100M1 is the tier 7 in the line and it has 970 health, so this is 30 less than the SU-152s, but that does have quite a lot of health for a tier 7 TD. So the hull armor is actually better than the SU-152. It's 90mm at the front, 75 at the sides and 45 at the rear. And 90mm at the front probably, at the angle it is, it's 125 I think at the front. So the SU-100M1 may not have good frontal armor, but there are parts where it can't be penetrated even by an IS, so where the blue crosshair is, the effective armor is 190mm and the IS has 175mm of penetration, so if you keep wiggling and they somehow manage to hit this, then they bounce. So in this second screenshot, where the crosshair is, it's basically an auto bounce because it's at a very extreme angle. I think it's either over 70 degrees or just beyond the IS's reach in penetration, so it's obviously going to be impossible to penetrate. So you just have to use these to your advantage and try wiggling your armor to see if they shoot the spots so they can't penetrate somehow. So let's not forget the gun mantler, which is I think at most 290, but that's if you shoot at the most obscure angle. Usually hitting the mantler it's like 200mm, so tier 8 will be able to go through that no problem. Okay, so in terms of maneuverability, the SU-100M1 weighs 13 tons less than the SU-152. It weighs 32 tons and both of them have the exact same engine, so this gives the SU-100M1 a horsepower per ton ratio of 16.76 and the SU-152's is 13.09. So it's obvious that this line of tank destroyers is going to be a lot more maneuverable, since most of them are based on chassis of medium tanks, so expect them to be a lot more maneuverable than their other counterparts. So this tank also has a 50km speed limit versus the SU-152's 43, and it has the better traverse speed by 6 degrees per second, 34 degrees a second, which is decent, so just play it right and you won't get circled much by mediums. So this line excels in their guns. Now this thing equips the T-54's top gun, one of them. This is the one with the better penetration. It has much better penetration than the SU-152's 219 compared to 175. It's got the better gold ammo, it's got 330 with heat, which is absolutely too much at tier 7. It has the better rate of fire and also had an amazing aim time of 1.7 seconds and an accuracy of 0.37. which is much better than the SU-152. Even though the SU-100M1 has a high rate of fire, the SU-152 will still beat it in a one-on-one, providing all shots penetrate because it has a 122mm, which does a lot of damage, and it has just a little bit less rate of fire, so it will inevitably win unless the SU-100M1 manages to roll high. So the SU-101 on PC, the PC version of World of Tanks, this was the reason why the Object 263 was so rare, but it's different in Blitz. On PC it didn't have the 122mm gun it does. This is the IS-4's gun. It just had the T-54's gun, which was a top gun just like with the SU-100M1. So is it different with this gun? Let's see. So compared to the ISU-152, the SU-101 has 90 more health. It actually gets 30mm better armor frontally. It's the same at the sides and 20mm worse at the rear. So here I am in Armor Inspector, and I'm looking at the SU-101 from an IS-3's gun, and you can see that the cheeks are 186mm, which is no problem for the IS-3's top gun, which is the BL9. And yeah, if we look at it for a tier 7, like say the IS's gun for example, you can see that it immediately becomes a challenge to penetrate the upper front plate. There is a 54% chance, but it's not guaranteed. And the cheeks are completely off limits. They're 186mm as you saw earlier, so it will be very, very difficult for an IS to get through it. They just have to have some luck or load gold or shoot the lower front plate. In terms of weight, the SU-101 weighs 14 tons less than the ISU-152, but the ISU does get the better engine. Even though that's the case, the ISU has a specific horsepower of only 14 tons, whereas the SU-101 gets a horsepower per ton of 19.09, so it's going to have a lot easier over time reaching that top speed of 54 kilometers an hour, which is really good. The SU-101 does get a 36 degrees per second traverse speed, which is on the better side, so again you just have to play it right and then you shouldn't be getting circled by medium tanks. So finally we come on to the guns, and the SU-101 gets an interesting one. So as I said before, it's the 122mm from the IS-4, has rate of fire of 5 rounds a minute, 258 penetration, which is the second best I believe of the tier 8 tank destroyers. And it gets 340mm of heat ammo, which is again really unnecessary, but it's there if you need it, and 68 HE penetration, which you want to also get 0.36 accuracy, which is actually good for a Russian tank, and 2.1 seconds aiming time. This is much better compared to the ISUs. It gets 0.5 worse accuracy and 0.6 worse aim time. If these two tanks get into a one-on-one fight and all shots penetrate, the ISU should win, just because it has that higher alpha damage gun and it doesn't reload that much slower than the SU-101. So there was a preview of the first two tanks in the new Russian tank destroyer line coming in update 2.8. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching and bye.